Have you ever wondered what would happen if the G-Toilet never existed in the Monsterup series? How would the other Titans hold against the zombie threats in the show? And most importantly, how would it affect the entire story? Well, after spending hours thinking about all of this, here is how I believe the story would have played out without the G-Toilet in the series, actually. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, you see, in the original story, the G-Toilet was first seen in episode 6 ending, where he came to rescue the Alliance, precisely the POV from the infected Astro. But since he came at the ending of the episode, the mission would later continue in episode 7, and this time around, the infected Skibidi scientist also could be seen to have been added into the show, making the mission a much more challenging one for the G-Toilet. But since the G-Toilet would not be available in the series, the POV and the Alliance would have to face up against these guys all alone then in these 2 episodes, which, yeah, would have been a very challenging one for them, especially the POV since he seems to be the actual one the infected Astro was after before getting saved by the G-Toilet in the original story. And in order to save the POV, the event of episode 2, where the Speaker Man sacrificed himself to rescue this guy, might possibly be repeated in this scenario, by the way, in which I believe the cameraman who fell along with the POV and the bald Skibidi friend into this place wouldn't have hesitated before doing that for the POV, actually. But since that wouldn't stop the zombies from going after these guys, we might get to see the POV calling on the emergency service much earlier in this scenario also, which would have led to the earlier appearance of the TV woman and the usage of the defensive barrier. However, every other event would possibly go the same way with the original, actually, but the cameraman would have been lost, by the way, while the infected Astro would have not been captured and brought down to the base as well. Okay, and just as in the original story, the infection of some other Alliance members due to how the base got compromised afterward would still be plausible in this scenario, though. And another thing is that the Speaker Titan's fate would still remain the same. Yeah, and guess you'll know what happens to him at the end of the episode back then. However, the following episode, where the G-Toilet showed up to handle the infected Speaker Titan while he almost got the POV, would have played out more differently, as the POV would have had to run for his dear life as soon as possible the moment he notices the Speaker Titan had been infected, and their evacuation this moment would have also been seen much earlier in this scenario, also even before the breaching of the defensive barrier, which I'm sure the zombies would have possibly made sure they entered into the base. Okay, and moving on to the 11th episode, where certain members of the Clock Race were introduced to the series to help the Alliance. Actually, there was a huge threat that came up for these guys in this scene, which, yeah, was the G-Toilet that came to their rescue. But what happens now that he's nowhere to be found? Well, I believe, as for the first infected mutant that came up for them, it might only take the Alliance a lot of effort before bringing him down. But as for the infected zombie hordes that G-Toilet spotted and immediately blasted while rushing in on them in this scene, this time around, they would have added to the threat level of these guys, leading to most of them possibly getting infected instantly. And although G-Man would not be available, it's safe to say that the base drill Titan would have appeared earlier. However, the fact that the infected Speaker Titan, Jackson Skibidi, and the Plague Doctor later showed up in this location would have resulted in the base drill Titan being infected instantly and easily. Yes, and the next priority for the remaining Alliance members would be to find any means possible to escape. However, another important detail to notice is that the creepy infected Speaker Man base would not have been seen in this scenario, since the POV would have escaped from this location even before the arrival of the zombie giant Skibidi mutant. Okay, and seeing all of this, the large TV man would likely still consider taking the Alliance to the location where the base camera Titan and the upgraded TV Titan were, and this would make all the events that took place in this episode an additional sequence, but without the presence of the G-Toilet and the death of the Alarm Clock Man. I mean, it's obvious the Alliance would have taken the cave's no metal accessories warning more seriously this time, unlike in the original, before getting inside. However, coming to episodes 24 and 25, the fight against the infected Skibidi scientist and the Titans would no longer feature the G-Toilet, and it would only be a matter of time before the camera Titan and the upgraded TV Titan finished him off. Whereas the TV Titan would still possibly be infected in the following episode. However, the introduction of the Clock Titan, along with the bullying of the camera Titan, is also plausible. And another thing also is that the Clock Titan would have to take care of the infected TV Man and the TV Titan all alone, considering the fact that the G-Toilet is not in the series. But the Speaker Marauders and the Siren Titan would still most definitely appear in episode 28. And from here on, every other event would actually remain remain the same, aside from the epic fights between episodes 32 to 35 until episode 47, where the Alliance would have to fight against the infected Skibidi scientist. However, since the Astro Duchess and the upgraded Camera Titan alone cannot handle this guy on their own, it's likely that the Red Drill Titan would join this battle. And with all three combined, I believe the infected Skibidi scientist would definitely be disinfected, and instead of seeing the G-Toilet together with Astro coming to rescue the Red Drill Titan and the other Alliance members in episode 55, the Clock Titan, Tri-Titan, and the Astro Duchess would have arrived instead. And with the threat level of the Plague Doctor in these episodes, it's obvious the Alliance would be completely losing to him. Yeah, I mean, if not for the G-Toilet in the original series, there's actually no way any Alliance member in this location would have escaped from being infected, meaning the upgraded Camera Titan and the Siren Titan would have been the only Alliance Titans left at the end of this epic battle. However, check out this video on the channel to learn about the weaknesses of each Skibidi Toilet G-Man. See ya!